Zoom.
We're having a virtual brunch, family brunch tomorrow and go to meeting.
Oh,
That'll be nice. There's Tom. Hey, Tom.
Everybody,
Hey, Tom.
please don't get offended, but I'm about to mute all of you.
Okay.
Go for it.
All right, you've all been muted so that we can hear what's going on. Hi, everybody, and welcome. This is awesome. I'm so glad to see so many of you on board with this, and it's been fun for all of us to kind of make lemonade out of lemons, so to speak. And what I found, and we've all been talking about it on Facebook, and the posts from Pat and Linda have been fantastic, that it's often, especially in your horsemanship journey, it's more than just horsemanship. So we've got this little saying in Parelli, it's way more than riding, and we all know that. But it's also on our horsemanship journey, it's a kind of a metaphor for life. And go ahead and raise your hand right now if your horsemanship has helped your relationships or your life in other ways, unexpected ways, right? So everybody's hands up that has their video on. Cool. So I want to talk a little bit right off the bat about the elephant in the room, because I don't believe in having those little undercurrents of anything. This is no doubt a unprecedented and challenging time. And I choose to focus on keeping myself and my family and my loved ones safe and healthy. And I think this is a great way to do it, to come together and continue our focus. And the other thing is focus, what you focus on expands. And I've realized that strongly recently in my horsemanship, that if I have a picture in my head of what I'm expecting, that energy helps me to stay focused and expand into that. So I want to focus on community. I want to focus on taking a lemon and turning it into a lemonade, so to speak, and doing what we can to adjust, to fit the situation, to stay connected, and to be together. And I think I've been talking about Zoom webinars with my teaching colleagues that are still in the teaching field, and they're excited about it, redesigning things to make this work. So I'm super excited about this part of it. And just to catch you up with what's going on, I'm in Florida, and we're here, Mike and I are here until April 20, week of April 20th, we're driving back with our horses. And just last week or week and a half ago, we decided to cancel all clinics the next 3 or 4 weeks, and I'm not traveling anymore for private lessons, but we are able to get to our barn and play with our horses. And then there's a few students at the barn I'm at that we're able to do some social distance lessons with, but that's pretty much it. So as we go along today, I want to throw some other ideas out for you of what we could do to keep that journey going and keep our connection going and get through all this together and take a hold of the opportunity. My mentor, Dave Ellis, one of my mentors, he's a 6-star instructor. And if you've ever seen Dave ride or listened to Dave talk, he's got a certain way about him. And this is I'm paraphrasing a bit on his recent Facebook post, but he said, well, this has sort of caused me to slow down just a little bit, change my travel plans. And he said, the things I would normally be doing with my horses, I can slow down on that now. And I'm thinking my horses appreciate that. And he's just got that kind of way about talking. And I just thought, wow, that's great. And I've noticed that too. It's like, I don't have to get my horse ready for this next event. So maybe it's time to slow it up a little bit, focus on the things that are the little things that mean so much. And I caught myself with Peaches doing that in a round pen session yesterday. She connected with me so well, relaxed and blew out. And if you all know Peaches, that's a big deal in a round pen for her, because she looks at the round pen and goes, ugh. So I just quit, hung out with her, and that was it. This has sort of allowed me to maybe adjust my butterflies and get them a little bit landed first. So that's a good thing for an extrovert. So just to fit the situation, something Pat and Linda want me to tell you, and that is we have a responsibility to apply our knowledge and our principles, not only to horsemanship, but to our lives. And so we want to change the world, right, for horses and the humans that love them. That's our primary mission. So that's a big deal. And also embrace relationships while still being following these socially distant guidelines. So another reason for these video chats and things like that. So that's really good. So let's keep it natural. Let's keep our lives going. And there you go. There's the elephant in the room. Ta-da! One chapter done. Maybe the next Zoom webinar will have some flashy graphic for each chapter. So chapter 1 was the elephant in the room. Chapter 2 is getting to know you on Zoom and Zoom etiquette. So if you haven't used Zoom before, it's the etiquette of this is to mute your sound and then raise your hand if you'd like to ask a question. Now you can literally raise your hand and maybe I'll see it, but the way to electronically raise your hand is it's usually in participants on the bottom bar, and it's different if you're on a phone or if you're on an iPad or if you're on a computer. But there's a little hand there, and I can see Shaka just raised her hand. Hi, Shaka. I'll call on you in just a second. So maybe you have a better answer? No, okay. So we're just testing it. So I'm gonna lower your hand. Ha! That was cool. So as we go along, if you have a question, raise your hand on that, and then I will call on you, and you can unmute yourself, or I can unmute you. It's much better if you can turn your video on, but if you don't want to, I respect that. That's okay too. Maybe you're still in your pajamas, but we don't care. Speaking of etiquette, though, let's not have any of us be that internet sensation that forgot to turn their video off when they had to go take care of a bio break or something like that. So if you need to get up and go for a moment, you can leave your computer, just turn the video off, turn the sound off. You don't have to exit the meeting and then come back. So if you need to take a break, please take care of yourselves. The other thing with etiquette is I'm going to act as the moderator as we go through the video lesson and the things we have for today. And I would like to ask your permission if we get off task or get off track to steer us back onto topic. And one of the ways that I'll be asking you for some feedback on that is voting. And it's real easy. If you want to say yes, thumbs up. So let's all practice that. Everybody, thumbs up. I see everybody with their thumb. That's awesome. And if you're, so I might say, hey, do you get this? Do you understand this? That's yes. This is kind of, but not really. And this is I am completely lost or no. Okay, so we use that kind of as we go along. So that's one way that we can do these things. So we got to see turn on video, participants, visual thumbs up. So now we're going to go to the next kind of chapter in this, and that is just getting to know you a little bit. There are so many of you on here right now, I can't even count, which is awesome. There's way more than 30. And I was going to have you unmute and introduce yourselves, but that would take probably a half hour. So we'll maybe do that at the end. The last section, by the way, is happy hour. And I'll turn the microphone off, turn the recording off for that. And we can just kind of chit chat. So what I'd like to do with that is ask you a question, and it's going to be in the form of a poll. So I'm clicking a few things on the screen. Give me half a second. Here's the first poll, and this should show up on your screen in about 20 seconds or 10 seconds, or maybe it's showing up already. And if it doesn't show up, then, you know, I have no idea why. So you should be able to vote. The poll question is, how far along this Parelli journey are you? And it's multiple choice. So I see some people are voting already. And if, again, as I say, if it doesn't show up on your screen, then, you know, we'll figure it out. I noticed when we tested this on cell phones, it took about 20 seconds for it to show up. But I see whole bunches of people have voted. We're up to almost all of you. We've got over 40 people on the webinar right now, which is awesome. And we'll let that go about 40 more seconds. So I like the first one. What is Parelli? Because we have invited some folks on here that maybe aren't familiar with what natural horsemanship is or Parelli, or maybe they're just interested. So that's kind of a good thing. Cool. All right, I'm going to go ahead and cap this off. It looks like almost everybody has voted. If you didn't get a chance to vote, that's okay. There's more coming. So I'm going to end poll and then share results. So you should be able to see the results on this, and if you can't, I'm just going to read them off for here. So the majority of us are kind of around level 2, past level 2 self-assess, that's 39%. 24% of you know a few things, but you haven't really studied the program. We have 3% of you passed level 4, self-assessed or official, and 27%. So the majority of you have done a little bit of Parelli, so that's pretty interesting. So I like that. And it doesn't matter if you have or haven't. It's all kind of, I just want to get to know who y'all are. Excellent. All right, so let's jump into the meat of this and why we wanted to get together on this. I had this crazy idea, and the crazy idea was I was giving Mike, who is my partner, a lesson with Lightfoot, and we videoed it, and we were thinking, man, it'd be so neat if everybody could kind of share that, and Mike was brave enough to say, sure, let's do that. So what I want to do is play just a short snippet. It's about 5 minutes long, and my voice is on there coaching Mike, and then what we'll do is interview Mike a little bit, and then after that, we'll throw it open to questions of things you saw. I think it's important, though, that I apologize. I'm going to treat you like middle school students right now because that's who I taught mostly. We're going to be respectful. We're going to be constructive. So if you have questions about it, what Mike did or why he did, or questions about even why I took the approach ask that question. I'm good with challenging questions, but make sure that you're supportive and positive. So in other words, well, that was stupid. What'd you do that for? Is kind of the wrong attitude. The right attitude, well, I was confused. Could you explain more about how you get the idea? All right. So as with everything, technology is a wonderful thing. And on Zoom, you are able to just cut right to a video off of your computer. But I noticed the quality dropped a lot and it wasn't good enough. So I'm going to be very tech savvy now, and I'm going to please, if you are prone to motion sickness, close your eyes, because I'm going to move this computer around. I'm going to shine it on my other computer, which is pretty crazy. And the thing that's a little bit funny here is there we go. I have to stand behind it to work all this. So if you raise your hand right now, I'm not going to be able to see that. So hang on a second. So here we go. Here's Mike. And this is Lightfoot. And this was taken about 3 days ago.
So if you hear that machinery running, or she might even come in here and do it on the outside of the brown pen. That'd be cool. Nice. You really see Mike's body language. Very good. So which way are you going to go, Mike? Good. He's got a stick ready to go. Horse goes. Mike goes neutral. Nice. Good. I'm going to widen the camera a little bit there. So a little bit of maintain gait issue. There he goes.
So I forgot to tell you, Mike is working on downward and upward transitions, Liberty. Downward and upward transitions at Liberty.
Nice. Responding on the light face.
What level is Mike? Is he a Parelli level?
Maybe the downward transition.
Good question. Thanks, Rosemary. He's
instead of his request.
He's working on level 3. This is a level 3 Liberty.
Got his downward transition. So as he passes you here, do an upward transition. So you turn towards him. A little too soon on your stick, but that's okay. Go neutral. Now when he passes your left shoulder, whoops, confusion. Look at that expression, guys. That's a good expression. Bring him in. Yeah, I wouldn't have stopped him at all. That was beautiful. Were his ears forward? Yeah. So our mentor in this program, Pat Parelli, says connection is king. Calmness and connection is king. And confusion is not. So that horse got confused. It was thinking spin. And rather than punish, Mike said, no, commit. Connection's more important than whatever Tom was yelling at me about. And that was great. You saw how good the expression was, right? So that was fantastic. So let's set it up again. Now you might wanna going to send him to the same direction. Make sure he's really a partner right here and connected to you. So I wouldn't send him there. Good. Lots of body language. Let's see what we got. Nice. Go neutral. Go neutral. Very good. I worried that if you pressured him right there, he'd go into the spin. Great. So maybe one more canter to trot, so we can get that on video so people can see her. There you go. Bring him up to a canter. Mike's out of neutral. Nice. Good. He's counter cantering, but that's just him. Downward transition. See Mike out of neutral, turning in front of him. There's the lift. Beautiful. Let's do an upward transition again. Oops. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. And now, but now immediately, as soon as he's ready, send him the other way again, right? So it's either I didn't want that, let's go the other way, or let's fix it, or end it, reconnect, and send again. Send him right there. Good. Easy. Yeah, you don't need any more. Good. Keep your eye on Mike so you can see he's nice and neutral. There's his upward. Beautiful. Horse took the correct lead. Mike said, hey, that's your job. That's good. That's appropriate. He's got it now. Now there's Mike doing a downward transition. The ball helped him. That was perfect. I'm not sure he thought it was you. Either ball did. Good, good, good. Now maybe down to the block. There's Mike turning the opposite direction of the horse. Cool. Sometimes it's hard to figure out how to do that, Mike. Good. Shake a little. Good, good. Now, if this were my horse, I would speed him up into a king.
Yeah, but it's not. Cool. All right, good. All right, is everybody okay? Nobody threw up. Good, good. That's good. All right, so I want to ask Mike a couple of questions about what was going on with Lightfoot and what he thought about that, and then what the next couple of sessions looked like for him, and then we'll open it up to questions. So hang on to your question. Mike, you want to come on over? While Mike's getting ready, I don't know if you can see behind us, we have a really cool, there it is back there, a really cool painting from a local artist that has horses on it. Hey, everybody. Hey, Mike. Hi. Isn't it cool? You can see everybody. Isn't it cool? Hi. So, Mike, let me ask you, what did you, you're working on your level 3 Liberty. Why did you want to work on that, and how had it been going before the lesson?
Oh, I mean, the week before, I was having trouble getting transitions either upward, well, mainly downward. Upward were not as difficult, but the downward transitions, unless I went to phase 3 or 4, and several times I was having to go back online and go to sometimes even phase 4 online. And then we got him tuned up online again, and then came back and was able to start to do things much more lightly at Liberty then, fortunately. So,
what was the biggest thing that you think helped that, both online and at Liberty? What was the biggest component that you had to change?
Watching my body language, number one. Being careful that I was using correct phases each time. And especially with Lightfoot, not over phasing him, because many times he doesn't require it. And sometimes he will get certainly a little aggravated or frustrated with you if you overphase him.
Where's Cindy?
He knows.
Cindy's played with this horse before. Cindy described this horse as a really nice horse, but very complicated. And
that he is.
That he is, yes. So you have to ride that balance of being fair and still have expectations, but be fair and present it in such a way, right? So that he doesn't get like, if you go over what you should, he goes up.
Exactly.
Lightfoot. I think that's why they call him Lightfoot.
Yeah, and then sometimes he would misinterpret things and maybe offer a spin way out there when I wasn't asking for it. So I was trying to be very clear with my body language so that he could respond in an appropriate fashion.
Sure.
Yeah. Sure. And that lesson really helped me with the transitions. It really helped tune things up.
How did things go the next couple of sessions on your transitions?
Yesterday we had a really good session. I kept it really short and just did a couple of transitions, both to the left and to the right. He did really well. And I did a couple of. We also have been having some troubles with draw clear out at the edge of the round pen. When he's in closer, he usually has a good draw, but sometimes out there, I will have to almost go to a little disengage before I can get the draw. And after doing several of those things yesterday, he was much better at the draw, even out at the perimeter of the round pen too.
The reason why all that works so well is, and why we even play Liberty, is to really test that connection when the horse gets a say in it, right? Because a lot of times the rope is a make, and so if they don't slow down, you can make them slow down, and if they want to go spin the other way, well, by golly, you can make them come your way. But without the mental connection, it doesn't work. They can just leave. Right. And you notice that's a Parelli round pen, so a horse that's kind of up like that, he can just jump out the pen if you apply the wrong kind of pressure at the wrong time. So that was really nice.
That was the other learning experience for me, was when he would maybe go into a spin and I still wanted him going maybe to the left and he's going to the right, trying to correct that with the proper amount of pressure so that I'm not forcing him over the round pen. So.
Excellent. So let me throw it open to questions for you all. So what you do is raise your hand, and I see Rosemary has her hand up already. Did you want?
Yeah, I just curious. My horse isn't that responsive to my body language. Is that me, or is that him, or a combination? And any tips? Yeah, and any tips to kind of get on the same sheet of music?
Excellent. That's a great question. So, body language. There's a lot. I wouldn't just throw a horse out that far away and see what happens. I would start close. So I'd get on a 12-foot line, and I might even do this on a fence for a while. And I'd say, okay, if I'm in front of the drive line, and do you guys remember where the drive line is? So if this is your handy horse, there's the four legs, there's the neck, right along the neck. We should have a horse. Should get a horse model here. That's a pretty strange looking horse. So right along here, the point of the shoulder up to the withers right here is the drive line. So anything in front of, any pressures in front of the drive line, both with your body language and with your stick or even the rope, will turn the horse or slow down the horse. And anything behind the drive line, that's back there, will speed up the horse or turn the horse. So if you looked at Mike's body language, in fact, this is really a great idea. Everybody don't throw up again. Don't throw up. Oh, please don't throw up. There you go. If you hear strange music, that's because we're in Florida, we're on there's a boat going by and they're playing music really loud. So if you watch Mike's body language here on this last transition, so right there, let me back him up just a shade more. So watch Mike, not the horse.
That's your job. That's good.
So right here, he came out of neutral and he's using his body language, and he's got his arm pointed, which is that direction in front of the drive line, and then behind the drive line to speed him up. So most of the pressures are coming behind the drive line. So the drive line is right there. He's giving a suggestion, then the pressures are way back here. In fact, the pressure came 180 degrees back here. And if the horse didn't respond, then he would go 90 degrees back there and then all the way. So watch again. He went neutral. Now this is really cool. Mike's about to go, he's going to turn with his body language, and Mike's body language now is going to be way in front of the horse, way up here. I don't know if you can appreciate that on the video, but then he'll use that suggestion of body language, and then he'll raise his stick to reinforce that suggestion. So you see how Mike's Mike's actually too far in front of the horse. He's right there is a good spot.
There's Mike doing a downward transition. The ball helped him. That was perfect.
Okay, and I believe he does it again here. So watch Mike's
Sure-
body.
Not
See
sure
it?
he thought it was you. The ball did.
Yeah.
Good, good.
So I would do that, Rosemary, to answer your question specifically. I would do that up against a railing first, close, and get that really, really light. And this Liberty thing works best if you go online and lead to Liberty. So,
Okay, thank you.
yeah, great question. Any other? Oh, I see Carla has a question. Carla, go ahead and unmute yourself. You have the floor.
Okay. The question of body language. I am convinced that I don't have the right body language when I want to ask for speed up. I can get the slow down and I can get in front of her but to do that, but I can't seem to figure out how to get my body. And I was watching Mike and it was subtle enough that I missed it, or I'm just not observant, but I'd like to know how to get up to the trot, but then from the trot into the canter. I can't seem to physically communicate that to Dot Dot.
Excellent question. Let's go back to Mike's video and we'll divide it out. It's all about phases and effectiveness. I know that's kind of trying to get those phases into your body language. So let's go back up to one of Mike's upward transitions here. Poor Mike's getting dissected in front of everybody, and he's okay with it, I hope.
Making spin. And rather.
All right, so this one coming up is a good example. So Carla, to answer your question, what I've discovered is the more neutral you can be. So Mike's completely neutral there. His leg is cocked. He's very neutral. And so he's not even turning with the horse or anything. It's the coming out of neutral that is very powerful for a horse and your body language. So it's almost like Mike's powered down. He's paying attention, but then all of a sudden he powers up and the horse goes, oh, something, Mike's going to ask something. He powered up, and that alone will make a huge difference. So see if we can see Mike's neutral versus not neutral.
So people can see
So
here.
there he's asking. That was a phase one. That was beautiful. So now look how neutral Mike looks. He's all
Bring him up to a
relaxed. So watch Mike. There, he came out of neutral.
Out of neutral.
Now the cool thing about the way Mike came out of neutral is he turned in the direction of the horse, which gave the horse an indication, I bet Mike's going to ask me to speed up. So phase one is just the finger. It's a suggestion. Phase two, he would spank, like I said before. All right. And if he needed to, he'd spank again and then spank right towards zone 5. He would spank right towards zone 5. So that's the textbook answer, Carla. But your question is, well, what if my horse doesn't speed up, right? So I would go back online and test it again at Liberty when you can do it at light phases. And in a corner works really well. And your horse has in the past had trouble going to the canter. So you can also set up your horse coming into a corner of an arena and apply that pressure coming from behind, and that helps straighten them out into a curve and speed up that way. So that's another way.
Okay, we have done that working in the corner, but the habit that she's gotten into is that when I go to neutral, after she comes out of that corner, then she goes back to the trot.
Yep.
So maintain gait.
What's her horsenality, do you think?
LBI.
LBI, yeah. So there's a lot of really great left brain introvert strategies. Let me quiz the group. Who knows some left? And so if you don't know horsenality, the left brain introvert horse has a t-shirt on that says, "What's in it for me?" And they hate it when they're made to do something. So there's a big hint about what technique you might use on a maintained gait circle game. So who wants to jump in on that? What's a good maintained gait circle game idea? Go ahead, Cindy. And then Mary next. Cindy, don't forget to unmute yourself.
I think you hit it on the nail on the head, because Cheyenne is definitely an LBI unless she's an RBE. So it changes.
Non-Parelli people are going, what in the world are they talking about? It's okay, we'll
But
fill
for
it.
her, I mean, for her, keeping it short. So if she responds the way I want her to, and it's a breakthrough, like, oh, you finally got it, I finally did the right thing, then yay, and we reward. So we get it, let her do it, and then we stop, rub, treat if it's appropriate, and go on to something else, because her, if she's got it, she's got it.
Yep.
Okay, so those
Good
are
one, Cindy. So Cindy says, just to paraphrase Cindy, she said, big reward when it's right. Mary, you want to go next?
Answer that one step of candor, reward, release, 2 steps, maybe more.
Good. So excellent. To paraphrase Mary, she said, reward the slightest try and don't keep pestering. That's what I mistakenly have done in the past. I've pestered and pestered and pestered. And then the horse got slower and slower and slower. And then I said, I need help. Good. Did you want to add anything to that, Mary?
Yes, for everyone, what horsenality is Lightfoot?
Ah, that's a great question. When usually people ask that question, I said, what personality do you think Lightfoot is?
I knew that was coming.
But I'll go ahead and answer that, because he can be all things. He's a very complicated, Cindy's going, yeah, I worked with him in a whole clinic. He can be all things at all times. His base operandi is left brain introvert, but he has a lot of reactionary kind of stuff. He's strong-spirited, and he's had a very checkered past, which has created a lot of strange behaviors in him. So, for example, today I went to ride him after Mike's Liberty session, and he wanted nothing of it. His ears were pinned back, and he gave me this look like, dude, I'm going to kill you. And I just went, cut the crap, whack. And he just went, and his ears pricked forward, and he was like, love you, man, sorry. That's classic left brain introvert. So, and then the ride was wonderful, by the way. So yeah, so LBI, but he can be very right-brained at times. When he gets confused, he loses all confidence and he starts to rip away. But yeah, a lot of that's things of the past with him, because we've tried to protect his confidence. We've tried really hard to put connection over top of everything. So I wanted to clarify, nobody asked yet, but I bet you're all thinking it. On a Liberty circle, a lot of times if a horse switches direction or comes in, we would usually just send him the other way and say, no, keep going. But because Lightfoot does these strange things when he loses his confidence, we put confidence more important than the pattern of staying on it. So a lot of times with a left brain introvert, if they break gait, we just change direction. And that causes them to have to do more work. You break gait, fine, change direction, keep going. Pretty soon they go, you know what? Every time I broke gait, I had to change direction. I think I'll just stay in gait. Then the horse has decided what to do. I didn't make you do it. So that's another great left brain introvert strategy. And I'm sorry if I took that answer from somebody. Thank you, Mary. That was excellent.
I do have a question on a sin.
Go ahead.
A rescind versus what Linda was showing us as give one send and then you are supposed to be trotting, cantering, whatever, by flicking the string at the elbow.
Yes. Yeah, and that's a great technique also. And Mike did it on the video. I'm not sure it came across well because the camera was in the wrong place, but it's his job. No, that's your job to maintain gait. And that works great, as long as the horse understands his job. If it's a level 1 horse or a horse that gets confused or whatever, and if you just put pressure on and they don't understand, oh, oops, sorry, that's my job, then you're going to get confusion and more confusion because you just put pressure onto a confusing situation. Does that make sense of the difference?
It would be more a level association.
Yeah, yeah. So like I know like Styx, my other horse, and we should probably do a video on him too because he's really exciting, in a good way. Like with him, it's like I know he knows to stay in the trot, so I just look over there and say, "Hey, stay in trot, whack," and swing towards the shoulder and all that, and he just goes, "Oh, sorry, man, that's my job," and then he's great. But if I annoy him and say, "Come on, keep going," You know, that's like if I'm at work and my boss looks over my shoulder and sees me playing solitaire on the computer, and he bumps me off the computer and says, "Let me show you how to do that again, Tom." I'm going to lose quite a bit of respect for my boss. But if my boss comes over and said, "Dude, you're playing solitaire. Get to work, or I'm going to fire you." Oh, yeah, you got me. And I go right back to work. So that's a respectful response to that pressure. Does that make sense, Mary? The difference between when to say, "Okay, I'm going to hold you accountable because that is your responsibility." It's when they know they're responsible.
Right. Okay.
Good one. Shakya, would you like to go next on I even forgot what the question was, so you all need to redirect me. Go ahead, Shakya.
Some tips for LBI that doesn't want to go, right? And that slows down after the corner instead of speed up. I was gonna suggest to, I remember Linda having a lesson with Remmer and going so slow that it was creepy crawl slow, and that was too fast. So I would say to ... slow down, no, slower. And in that corner, she has to go so slow that every single step she takes is controlled by me. And I want her so slow that she even thinks and looks at you before she puts her foot down. That's how slow.
That's a really fun technique too, because it's using reverse psychology.
Right.
And that makes it more like a game for us. So you got a horse that won't go fast, right? It's slower and slower. It's like, okay, I'll take your idea. Let's go even slower than you want to go. Nope, that's too fast. I love that. It worked great with my horse Spark. He'd get on the trail and he would hate to leave camp. He would go so slow that it would be like, "Oh my God, you're so slow." And I'd go faster, faster. And I urge with my seat like you're not supposed to. And pretty soon I'd go, "Ooh, come on, man." And he'd just get worse and worse. And so finally I just said, you guys go on ahead, or I'd just ride out in front and do it and say, "Okay, we're going to go really slow now." Too fast. And finally he'd look at me and go, "Could I please go faster?" And I would say, "No." I'd wait for the second time he asked, "Could I please go faster?" "Yes, if you insist." And it works. It does work beautifully on a left brain introvert. You're right. Good suggestion, Shakya. Who's got another suggestion? I see Marilyn's got her hand up. Go ahead, Marilyn. And then Rosemary, and then Carla. Go ahead, Marilyn. You got to unmute first.
Okay, actually, this was not about, this is another entirely different question. If I'm in the wrong place, then tell me to shut up.
Go ahead.
Okay. On a circle game, Caesar going to the right will change directions behind my back. Not to the left. He's fine going to the left.
Mhm.
What really should be my response to this?
That's another great question. So right on your back, going to the right when Caesar gets behind you. So what I would do is, it must have happened enough times that you know what's likely to happen before it happens and where it happens.
Mhm.
So I would set it up just a little bit differently and say, okay, I might put a cone over there as something that she has to go around and keep going. Or I might speed her up a little bit. So say behind me is 6 o'clock. I might speed her up at 3 o'clock. So as she's coming around here, speed her up before she gets back there and does his little thing. So that's an option too. And if it's a left brain change of direction to get out of something,
It is.
you can say, fine, change directions all you want. I'm only working on maintain gait right now, and just maintain gait. And pretty soon they don't get a fight because you said, fine, just go ahead, but keep going. So the other thing to think of is work on just one thing. So the one thing might be maintain gait. It's like, all right, stay in the trot. You change directions, fine, right? I'll fix that later. You're staying in the trot. So that's another strategy that can work if it's a left brain thinking horse that's trying to play a game or get out of work. So there's two options there. But I suspect speeding him up at like 15 minutes on the clock before he does it is going to take care of it. The other thing on your send that helps a lot and it's kind of hard to do on the video, but if this is the person and this is the horse, you send them, and on the send, if you use a windmill like that on towards the shoulder, and turn 180 degrees windmilling on the send. Don't walk forward, just turn 180 degrees, and then go neutral. That kind of gives the horse the impression that you have pressure behind your back, because you turned 180 degrees on the send and then went neutral. So that one helps a lot as well. And I can show you that sometime on a lesson.
Okay.
One more question on that, and then we need to move forward. So I think Shakya has her hand back up again. Anybody else? Go ahead, Shakya. Nope. I'm going to lower your hand then. Boom. I feel very powerful. This is really kind of cool. Excellent. All right, good, good, good. So that was our lesson on downward transitions. Somebody else, I wanted to brag on Mike a little bit. He's passed his level 3 online with Peaches. He's passed his level 3. Oh wait, I'm sorry. He's videoed his level 3 online. He's passed his level 3 freestyle, and he looks like, to me, like he's ready to video his level 3 Liberty. So that's a big deal. So I'm very proud of that. And there are a few of you here who are, here's level 3, and you've got one foot hanging over, you've got 2 hands hanging over, you just need to hike that other foot up. So this is your opportunity to do that and help with that. So great. Cool. So I wanted, before we do this next little thing, I have another question for you. And this one, we need the chat function for. So somewhere in your screen there is a button that should say chat. And whatever you type there kind of shows up for everyone. And I'm not exactly, I think it's under, if you're on a cell phone, if you go upright, you'll see something on the bottom and 3 dots. And you press there and the chat feature comes up. And if you're on a computer or an iPad, it's along the bottom, I think, and it should say chat. So yeah, I see a bunch of people are, gotcha, sorry I was late, hi. I see Evelyn, hi Evelyn. This is so cool. I'm trying to, it's like the magic mirror from a kindergarten show I used to watch. I forgot what that name was. So here's the question for the chat. Why would you want to work on a figure of 8, either riding or online or Liberty? Why is a figure 8 good? And while you're responding to that, we talked about taking figure 8 out of level 1 at one point, because a lot of beginning students it was a bit of a struggle on the figure 8. And then everybody went, no, don't take out the figure 8, it's so important. So clearly we thought it was important enough to put it in the level 1 online, and it's also in level 2, 3, and 4 in all 4 savvies in different ways. So we got lots of answers coming up here, so I'll start to read them if you can't see them. Bending, keep changing eyes, yielding. These are excellent. You guys are right on the ball. Draw and drive, drive and draw. Perfect. I agree with Mary too. Cindy says, changing leads and shifting weight. Watching the change of eye helps teach bending on a circle. Balance, drive, draw, responsibility, balance, etc. Send and draw calms the horse down. Yeah, so lots of disengages in there too. Drive and draw, balance, keeping the brain engaged. And not only the brain engaged, a figure 8 has an engagement physically also. Leading up to lead changes, awesome. I'll add one more because it's really fun. And when horses are pattern animals, and when they get on a pattern like that, not only is it good for all the reasons you said, but it's also mentally good for them to respond to it. And here's what Mike was discovering. Because Lightfoot is the way he is, I don't know if he does it on purpose or not, but he tries to kind of like, maybe I'll just go over this obstacle and not have to think. And he'll go over to the podium, and it's almost, I don't think it's learned helplessness traditionally, but I think it's kind of like he's just trying all kinds of things, and then if you punish him for trying that, it's the wrong idea, and then he loses his confidence and it goes downhill. So he was really struggling on his figure 8. So when you watch this little snippet with Mike coming up, check out what I told him about it in terms of having the horse take the responsibility for the figure eight. Okay, it's the pattern I use to relax Paris. Oh, excellent. Challenges your own self. Draw and drive. Draw and drive. Does everybody know what draw and drive is? So let's do a thumbs up vote, thumbs down vote, thumbs sideways. If I asked you to explain draw and drive right now, would you, could you, would you? I won't, don't worry, I won't call on anybody. I see some thumbs up, I see some no thumbs, I see some thumbs sideways and some thumbs down. So we better cover it real quick. So drive is, draw and drive is the easiest thing to get out of balance in our horsemanship. So drive, pretty much everything we do is drive. Move this body part away, look, lift, swing, touch. Porcupine, driving away, and very quickly we can forget to pattern in draw, come to me. So the easiest draw that you've done is the catch me game, where you're out in the field and you look at that hindquarter and the hindquarter eyes turn and face and you take the pressure off and the horse can come to you. The yo-yo game is another game that has draw in it. Maybe the first one you played that the horse came to you on a pressure request. So it's something you want to keep building in. And the figure eight has a draw component to it. When they go around the barrel, they need to draw back to you. And they go out around another barrel and draw back to you. So it has draw and it has drive. And the moment those are out of balance, too much draw, the horse won't go out to the barrel. Too much drive, the horse goes to the barrel and leaves. So let's check out Mike's thing here on draw and drive. So again, steady yourselves, everybody. Don't get nauseous. Over to there. There we go. And because I'm so organized, I know exactly what time code to go at. It's 12 minutes and 30 seconds. Oh, look at that horse going fast. Close enough. All right, so Mike's online.
All right.
This one's only 3 minutes long, by the way, in case you need to know.
So there's a set. So is your intention circle or figure eight right now? Start with the circle, he said. So it's better for the horse to be directly in the middle of the round pen. So move back up a little bit. You're not quite in the middle. So if you drew a straight line between the two barrels, yeah, that little bit makes a difference in him knowing whether you want circle or figure of eight around those barrels. Yeah, you were thinking yourself, like, I'm thinking I'm going to do that. So say, yeah, that's good. So he looked to you for information, right? And it was beautiful because he looked when he went around the barrel. Because he doesn't know. And that's kind of the game here is, are you going to go circle? Or are you going to go figure eight? Or are you going to go change a direction? He shouldn't know. He's going to look to you for that guidance. So that's kind of the game we'll play, to have him take some responsibility in this. So now you look like you're set up for a figure eight because you're backed away. Now go neutral. Go neutral. It's his job to stay on the figure eight now. Good, go neutral. Let's just keep it at the walk. Let's see what we got. Can you picture the path he must take? If he's on the path, don't do anything. Let's see what happens here. It's his job. Oh, just back up a little and help him. So he didn't really round the barrel. I'll tell you what to do with that in a second. Let's see what happens around this one. So you're still in figure eight position, right? Be neutral. And Mike has figured out just enough rope so it doesn't tangle on the barrel. Let's see what happens. Okay, he's passing the barrel. He didn't check, so help him out with some information. Turn your shoulders. Good. Now this next time, when he passes you, and he's almost at the barrel, wait for him to pass, spank lightly down the middle, and that'll help him round the turn. So right down the middle there. You see how that affected him? He turned. Now give him the information. Good. Go neutral. Let's see what we'll have to do it here too. Because you want it to be his job to think the pattern. So spank down the center. Good, that helped. We won't always have to do that. So you got a little offended. Good, I like it. It's like, I'm on a pattern, I know it. I hope that's what he's thinking. Let's find out. So give him the lightest suggestion right here. Just a little suggestion here. I suggest you go over. Now you fumbled a little, so that was your fault.
Jeez, Tom.
I don't know.
So
I've
mean.
never fumbled this, so I have no concept of what that's like.
Tom is so mean. Jeez. All right. So we're running a little bit short on time, so I don't want to, unless Mike, did you want to add anything to how that's going and what, actually, I think you should. If you don't mind, Mike, go ahead and jump in.
Hello, am I back on?
Yep, you're on.
Yeah, we had a session this morning and making headway. We're making headway. We did it at Liberty this morning, and online first, and then transitioning to Liberty, and still having some trouble sometimes whether to go around the barrel, or sometimes he thinks maybe I should go over it or not go over it. So we did an exercise after that where Tom had me put the barrels very close to the within probably 4 feet of the round pin on either side, and we put him into a canter circle.
When we only had him, we got eyes off,
A
but
canter
we
circle,
only had him,
and then had him
in the
do.
backyard.
I did a draw right when he passed the barrel, so I got him turning around the barrel. I'm
It's
just
so
getting,
funny.
there are people in my ears.
Now, what kind is he? I know there's different kinds.
Sorry, I was getting other. Anyhow, that helped a lot.
Did you all give me a thumbs up if you heard Mike? Okay, most everybody. Okay, got it. So what Mike did is he put the barrels on the far side, right next to the gate, right next to the round pen, with just enough room for Lightfoot to go by on a circle, and sped him up to a canter. And when he passed the barrel, he drew right down the center and let Lightfoot relax. So Lightfoot would get the pattern of, hey, when I go around that barrel, speed up and run to Mike. And then he did that 4 or 5 times, canter around the round pen. And then when he passed the barrel, and there was only like this much, there was only a horse width room between the round pen panel and the barrel. And he sped up, cantered around, and then right past the barrel, draw fast and come. So what Lightfoot learned as a left brain introvert was, hey, I'm going to hurry up and speed up to Mike. And so that helped keep him together at speed. The biggest thing for what I thought was helping Lightfoot, though, was that it's his responsibility to be on the pattern. And when a horse carries responsibility, you no longer have to micromanage. As a matter of fact, if you micromanage, the horse will never truly take responsibility. So I'm always reminded of, it's a great Linda Parelli trailer loading, where she had this horse in hand that just wouldn't load. And so she said, all right, crazy lady's gonna come out if that horse isn't thinking about the trailer. So the horse would look off somewhere and Linda would just go, anything. I mean, she was just crazy lady was coming out. And then as soon as the horse looked at the trailer, Linda went, pump, went quiet. And then the horse kind of walked away from the trailer. Crazy lady came out again. And as soon as that horse even put a nose toward the trailer, this time a couple feet went towards the trailer, she went, whoop, quiet. And it was like, how do I keep that crazy lady quiet? Yes, Lord? How do I keep the crazy lady from coming crazy? So what I did with Mike was I kept saying, hey, could you go quiet immediately when he's on that figure 8 path? So you got to visualize the path. As long as he's on that path, do nothing. It's easy. And then he said, oh, I'll just stay on the path. That's how you can get more of a game. So I thought that worked out really well. Questions from the group about that approach we took, or I think Mike said he did the figure 8 got a lot better after that. Especially after what he did today, it got really good at Liberty, where he sped him up around those corners. give me a thumbs up or thumbs down. Did you see how well Lightfoot did when Mike spanked down the center and it allowed him to round that corner? That was a big aha for Lightfoot, because you really shouldn't try to change directions unless you have two eyes. So if the horse is looking off this way and you try to change directions, their body's not set up correct. And a lot of times what happens is they'll swing their front end through, which is kind of cool, but it doesn't round the turn, and you're not getting a body benefit from it. So the Western guys that are doing Western sports and cow cutting, we kind of like to turn from the shoulders for those kind of sports. And but for a nice rounded turn, and a lot of English sport and Western sports too, Western dressage, or just a round turn, you want to get both things going, and this helps that round turn by getting the back end to initiate the turn. So that's pretty cool. Okay, who wants to ask a question about that or something that came up to you? Yeah, Susan, go ahead. You have to unmute there, Susan. I'm sorry, Susan Cavedo.
Oh, wrong Susan.
Sorry, Susan Roberts. You'll go do you next if you want. Okay, Susan Cavedo, hold on, Susan Cavedo. I'll try to unmute you for you. Oh, there you got it.
Okay. I noticed that you use a lot of obstacles for just slowing down or speeding up in the barrels and stuff. I really like that idea. So I guess I need to incorporate that in my Liberty or even whatever. So what's the reasoning behind that? Just help?
Yeah, it helps. It helps give you a focus, and
That's
it's
true too.
yeah. And a lot of times when you're first learning something, it's like, all right, go from a walk to a trot, and then 30 steps later it happens, and that's okay when you're first learning something. But to get high level and to get more of a communication, it should, a transition ought to happen within just a few steps.
Right.
And so you can start to gauge it by that, and it gives you a stronger focus. So if that downward transition, like I was working with Sticks, his downward transition didn't happen until like 10 steps. But then after I helped him with it, it happened within 5 steps. I'm like, oh, we're getting some progress here. So it gives you a rating also. And it's more fun. It's more fun for you, more fun for the horse. These 7 games can get very dull very quickly, very boring. There are 7, Linda says this all the time, there are 7 games, not 7 tortures. Pat wanted to call them the 7 tasks. And Linda said, oh no, we got to call them the 7 games. Let's see, the other Susan had a question. Susan Roberts, did you want to ask a question?
No, I was just asking, I did that David Lickmans and Diane responded to me here in the chat too, and his verbal cue was go round, which my horse understands. Should we eventually get away from that or continue to use it, or does it matter?
No, and I highly recommend David Lickman's Liberty Beyond the Round Pen. It's fantastic because his boomerang exercise, which is just this, is a figure 4. It's great, and you can incorporate that into teaching the horse, absolutely, because it's go around and draw and go around and draw. What you want to be careful with, and that David talks about this too, is when you first taught your horse a boomerang and come in, they're thinking game over when they come in, and so it can be offensive to the horse to go game over, now go over there, whack, and you'll lose it. You'll lose their confidence. So you have to have the attitude of go out, go around. And then, would you consider going around again? What would you think about that? And instead of a punishment for coming in, you'll ruin your draw. So these things all work hand in hand, absolutely. And I highly recommend that. That's helped me a lot as well. Okay. Good. I'm glad somebody brought that up. It's an excellent little game. Cindy Huff is next. Go ahead, Cindy.
I want to go back to figure 8 for just a minute. And you were talking about because I have trouble with her not wanting to go all the way around the barrel. So I want to go back to that timing of when you do the, tag the middle basically. Mm-hmm. Where is her position with relative to the barrel when I want to get that to get her rear end to swing?
Yeah, great question. Great question. We're about to hit the hour mark, and I'm pretty sure this will not shut us down. But if it does, I'll send you all an email and we'll set up another one of these meetings. But I don't think it's going to shut us down. I think we could continue a few extra minutes. So the question is timing when you encourage the horse to come around that barrel. And two choices on that. The first choice is after they pass the center. So you got your two barrels, and right when they pass the center, spank down the middle, and you're not spanking at the horse, by the way. You're spanking after they pass. So here comes the horse, he passes, you spank there. In fact, you even look there while you do it. Where's the camera? There is. You look right down the middle after the horse passes. Don't spank at the horse. It's like boom. And so what the horse should be thinking then is, oh, I better boot scoot my butt around. There was some pressure back there. And they make the decision to come around the barrel. Again, if any horse would get a little bit perturbed if you tagged them right in the center there. They might not even want to come to the center again. But if it's after they pass, they're like, oh, that energy helped me to turn. Now with Lightfoot, you may have noticed we waited until his barrel, the horse's barrel was lined up with the barrel before we tagged. Because he has a habit of turning too soon and then getting confused and thinking it's the sideways game, and he offers the sideways game, and now he's over top of the barrel. And so for him, we waited. And that's where it mirrors that boomerang game a little bit more. For him, it made more sense to wait, and then he rounded it. Excellent question.
Thank you.
Time for one more question. Q. Excellent, you guys are awesome. This is really fun. I have a bit of inspiration, but I want to ask one more poll question. And I like this idea of doing this, and I'd love to keep it going. So my question is this a good time? And should we do something like this once a week for a while while life is on pause for a little bit? And it could be a different person, should be a different person doing the lesson. So I'm going to throw a poll out there real quick and see what your thoughts are on that. And if you want to share more with me, you can do it in the comments, or you can just talk to me. And let's see if I can get over to the poll. Let's see, stop sharing results. And where's the poll? Boom, 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 boom. There it is. Is this a good time to meet? That's the poll. So that poll's going. And there's one more chapter here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn off. We've been recording this onto the cloud, so that there were a few people that were asking me if we could make it, so you could see this after the fact. So I'm going to try to do that. I'm relatively tech savvy, and I think I can get it on my website, but I can't promise until I know how to do it. So what the last chapter of our meeting here is happy hour, and I'm going to turn the recording off for that. You can ask any question you want, or just talk, or whatever you want to do. We can all turn our mics on and all that. Just try not to talk over each other. And we'll let that go as far as anybody wants. But the official end of the webinar will be in just about a minute. I want to show you a little bit of Pat and Linda playing with their horses. And this is an old outtake of a little Liberty thing they did. And I just thought it was fantastic. I hadn't seen it for a few years. So I'm going to get over to that real quick. And that'll be kind of the end here. What? Poll didn't come through. All right. Well, the easiest thing to do with that then is, I noticed nobody's voting. Like,
You're still recording.
Yeah, I'm still going to record. I'll shut the recording off in just a minute. So put your opinion in comments about what you'd like to see with the time, or email me or text me about how we should do this. And I don't hope I'm not throwing Rosemary under the bus, but I think Rosemary might be volunteering to do the next one, the next lesson video. What do you think? What do you think, Rosemary?
Yeah, okay. It'll cost you.
Mike's over there clapping.
Oh yeah, well let me get that. Let me get that little reaction. Yay. Yeah.
Mike's yelling, no pressure, Rosemary. Okay, so give us 20 more seconds of Tom's tech issue here. There we go. Okay, we got it, and it is on 9 minutes and 55 seconds. This is great. This is Casper and Remmer at Liberty. 9 minutes and 55 seconds. There it is there. Okay, let's get that set up so you can see it. Isn't that awesome? Cool, everybody. So hey, keep it natural, and I'm going to turn this off on to go back to happy hour now. And everybody, I hope we can stay connected and do this again soon. So stay in touch. I'll either put it up on Facebook or on email, or probably both, about when we meet next. Okay. So let's all do a savvy clap if you don't know what that is. This is everything there is to know about. Oh, this looks funny because you got to hold your hands in the screen. So this is everything there is to know about horsemanship in this hand. This is what we came in learning today, and these things are where that comes together. Are you ready? Savvy. Nice job, everybody. Thank you. Keep it natural. And we're done recording. You want to stop cloud recording?